Howdy, Possum Patty here with the Soggy Bottom Bunch behind my teacup here and my hot tea and a printout. Yepers. I came in here just a few minutes of gentle journaling and figuring out what I wanted to put on that pocket that I was working on and thinking about what I want to do with the troll page. Yes, and I got on my computer and put together a couple images to print out. Yepers, I'm ready to do a little bit of journaling. Come on along. First, let me show you what I did. And I know I've got the journal all tied up here, but I was working on this page yesterday with a picture of baby possum and the pumpkins. And I added this scrapbook paper that I love with the raven and the pumpkins and the thistle. And I put pumpkin time. And I wanted to decorate the page over here to sort of match this. So I turned this paper over. Let's see, I got some over here. So it's got that on the front and it's got that on the back. And I used that as the background. And then I took one of the cut aparts. And this is a part of a poem from Poe, Edgar Allan Poe. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. I love that. Okay. And then, I had the apples on this side. I cut a thumb notch at the top there. Now this pocket is so thick because it was made out of cardstock. And then I covered both sides with cardstock and I added this, which is cardstock. And that's why I'm going to have a problem with this journal. Yes, it is just going to be too chunky. But I have a couple of ideas. Yes, I have a couple of ideas. Anyway, so I wanted to make the journaling card. And I'm thinking, okay, this is already 4 or 5 layers. I wanted to find a paper that was double-sided so I didn't have to glue 2 more layers together. So I chose this one with the really pretty pumpkins, and this side will just be showing on this side. Yeah, I'm not going to journal on that side. It's just the back of the card for the other side, so the pumpkins will look perfectly fine on that side. And then this side is sort of a plaid. Kind of goes with these colors over here, right? Kind of muted, like reds, orange, yellow, grayish tones. I think it goes fine. I think it goes fine. And so I'm going to put Fred the Apple there. So all I have to do is cut out his picture. And the other images on that page are the trolls. Yes, amazing. If you are ever anywhere near Granite Park, Granite Park in Charlestown, Rhode Island, it's like a coastal town. Yeah, it's a coastal town. And you have the opportunity, go to the park, Granite Park, and check out these trolls. Now, these trolls are another place. Well, not these exact trolls. Every troll that Thomas Dambo did is different. Yes, every troll that Thomas Dambo did is different. And there's some in Washington, I believe in Seattle, other countries, but in this country too. Where were the other ones? Were they in Virginia? They're in a few places and up in Maine at the botanical gardens. Okay, so we got to the park. And when you're on the website, you can go to an interactive map and it'll plot your location and where all the trolls are in the world. And you can use this map to find the trolls. Now, if some of these trolls have been placed in an area that's not obvious when you first look at it. No, you actually have to get out and do a little hike in nature to see some of these trolls. And I think that's one of Thomas Dambo's ideas, is to get out in nature and see some art made with recycled items and interact with it, and yeah, just have a lovely time. I know I did. Those leaves. Little leaves on top of his head. I want to change the shape of that one a little bit. There we go. Oh, that's much better. Much better. Okay, I'm going to put him on here. Look how nice he looks on this paper. And I'm going to do some journaling around there. And I'm thinking, Fred, the apple that didn't go into the pie. And as soon as I thought that, I said to myself, oh my, there's got to be a children's book there somewhere. Fred, the apple that didn't go into the pie. Anybody want to help me write a children's book? I love it. Okay, back to trolls. So we got the map and we're going down the drive in the park, and I see the sign that says troll parking. I said, oh, Mr. Possum, turn in here. So we turned in. And where we parked, we didn't see right away which way we were supposed to go to find the trolls. We just saw the sign that said troll parking, right? So we saw another couple come by. So I said to Mr. Possum, now that lady over there, she looks like she comes here all the time and she's going to know everything about this park. And he's like, how do you know that? I said, I just know it. I can feel it in my bones. Yeah, so she came over and I asked her, I said, where are the trolls? And she's like, oh, go down this path and cross the road and into the woods. And she's telling me how to get there. And I was like, yep, okay, thank you so much. Mr. Possum couldn't believe it. Yeah, so we walked over. So it's like a bicycle path, the first part. So it's paved. It's actually paved and it's like a bicycle path. But there's these giant yellow footprints. And I said to Mr. Possum, how did we miss that? How did we miss that? So we followed the footprints. Now you follow the footprints down like the bicycle path, but then it comes to a road. And when you're at the road, you can see a sign, and a big sign that says troll, and it's pointing into the woods. So I said, oh, that's the way we have to go. So we went into the woods, and oh, I love this trail. It was one of those windy, you have to wind around, and there's brush on both sides, the real thick, tangled up grapevines, bittersweet vines, shrubbery brush, the kind that songbirds love, right? So we're walking down the trail, and I've got my two friends with me, and she's got her little troll map there. They were in the backpack, yeah. And then you go around the last bend, and a little bit through the trees, you can see a face, but there's this wall of rocks, big, giant rocks. And it's kind of like those old, what do they call them? Like in the UK where they have the stone walls, and it's to keep the cows or the sheep in. And then they build this little like crooked way that you can go through that, the cow won't walk through. It's just like a little crooked zigzag to go through. And yeah, so you go through that little zigzag, and then you come out to this clearing, and there's a stone wall all the way around. And right in front of you is this, like 16-foot high troll. Now, the name of this troll was Greta Granite. So I'm thinking all the stones that are round are granite, right? Greta Granite. A lot of granite in New England. And there's a whole story about why he named her Greta Granite and the symbolism of all the stones that are round in front of her. Now, I did discover that if you search for this here on YouTube, you can find some videos about them constructing this troll. Yes, it hasn't been there that long. I mean, the nails on the wood were still shiny, so the whole thing was not weathered at all. This is the first season for these trolls at Ninegret Park. So here's this giant troll, and she's got this lovely face, and she's got this long hair tied up in a ponytail, and it's made from split bamboo. Now, I was watching the movie about when they were constructing this, and he had a lot of volunteers helping put these trolls together. Oh, I would have loved to have gone and helped out with that. Anyway, he said the original idea was to braid it, give her a big long braid in the back, right? A big long braid. But he just couldn't get the bamboo to do what he wanted it to do. You know, I'm thinking to myself watching this, you needed to soak it. Because I think if you soak that bamboo for a long enough time, it might get pliable enough to braid. Anyway, that was my thought, right? That was my thought. And there's Greta right here. And she's holding up this branch like this. And on this branch are all these necklaces made from shells. Now, I said this was down on the coast, right? So they're using like recycled wood, and they're using natural found objects. So these necklaces are all made out of shells and woods and stone and all nature objects. And it was amazing. Now, she looks really small in this picture, but there's a picture of me and I'm poking my face through that. So if I was standing here right inside where these necklaces are, I come up to there. So that's me. 5, 10, 15. Yes. Looks like she's over 16 feet, but that's about right. So, right? 5, 10, 15, 15, 16 feet. So I was just amazed. I was just in awe of this whole thing. And I stood there for a long time. And you know what? Some people came and they took pictures and they looked at it and they left. But I was just, looking around and enjoying it and looking at the rocks. And there was a plaque, and I'm walking around behind her and looking at how they did the hair. And, I'm just spending my time, just being mindful in the moment, I noticed up in the trees, some necklaces were strung around like garlands up in the trees. And one had charcoal, and there were some bone bits on some of these things, and bamboo bits, and just all kinds of nature items. So I wish those people had stuck around. I would have told them, hey, look up. You're missing stuff. These people, they just like, come, take a picture, go. Come, take a picture, put it on social media, go. But now, spend a moment, be mindful, right? This is a very important art installation to get you out into nature and see. Oh, say it with me. The morning double clock. And see what can be done with some recycled items. So let me tell you the story. Now, he has some stories. The trolls that are at the Coastal Maine Botanical Gardens there, they have a story. They're called the Guardians of the Seeds, right? And there's a whole story about how each troll represents, like seeds and roots and things like that. I need to learn more about them. Maybe we'll get up there one of these days. It's quite a drive from here. It might have to be an overnight trip, which I can't do because I got to feed Miss Titi constantly. Oh, Miss Titi, yes. So I went to the grocery store today and they didn't have any Whiskas cat milk. So I'm looking I'm walking up and down the aisle, looking at the cat food. I'm like, nah, she's not going to eat that. She's not going to eat that. She's not going to eat that. And then I happened to see that there was a refrigerated section, right, in the pet aisle. So I went over to check it out. I said, well, maybe she'll enjoy some like fresh food. Maybe she'll enjoy some fresh food. And they had one roll, looked like a big sausage, but one roll of fresh food for cats. And it was like natural chicken and beef kind of cat food, no fish in it. And it was fresh. And I'm like, well, maybe I should try this. Can't go wrong. I mean, it was like $5, but you get an entire pound of food. Those little Sheba containers, that have two sides and each side is like one serving. Those are like 4 for $5. And you don't only get this little forkful, right? Well, here's a whole pound for $5. So I was like, I guess it's worth trying, right? If she'll eat it, it's worth trying. So I bought it and she ate it. I was like, oh, thank goodness I found something she'll eat. Now, she'll probably eat it for like 2 or 3 days and then decide she doesn't like it anymore. I'll have to go find something else. People tell me, well, if you leave it down there long enough, she'll get hungry enough and she'll eat it. I'm like, no, she won't. She'll just not eat and lose weight and get sick, and I'll have to take her back to the vets. So I have to spend a little time finding things that she'll eat. Oh, the story about the trolls. All right, I wrote it down. I'm looking for my paper here. Okay. So the trolls, and this is from Thomas Dambo, okay. The trolls are there to stand for love and care for nature and to waste less and clean up after ourselves. And they're there like a modern folklore to be the voice of the animals and the plants. And I thought that was wonderful, but there's more to the story. Like the ones at the main botanical gardens are the guardians of the seeds. I showed you that last night. These two trolls, you're not going to see the other one till tomorrow, probably. But Greta Granite and her companion are the Thunderstone trolls. And I was like, oh, the Thunderstone trolls. You know me and my stones. I got rocks and stones and everything all over the table. I got a whole journal about them. And these are the Thunderstone trolls. And I was like, wow. I love that. I love that. Now, according to Thomas Dambo, a thunderstone is the highest stone on the highest peak of a mountain. And it is so durable because it's repeatedly struck by lightning. It's tempered, right? That would make it tempered. So that's the thunderstone, the highest stone on the highest peak of the highest mountain is the thunderstone. And he named these trolls after stones. I thought that was amusing because they're all made out of wood. Now, this is Greta Granite of the Thunderstone tribe, right? According to Thomas Dambo, these trolls were made to celebrate the stones, yes, because they remind us of how old the world is and how great are the forces, that shape the stones. If you ever study, the rock cycle, the rock cycle, I love the rock cycle. The forces that shape the stones are very, very great. Heat and pressure and wind and rain. And I was like, oh, Mr. Possum, they're thunderstone trolls. And there's a rumor that there might be more thunderstone trolls coming, maybe someday. And all in New England, because New England was covered by a glacier 10,000 years ago. And as the glacier came across New England, it scraped the top of mountains and picked up rocks. And it was a mighty force that came across New England. And in parts of New England, it actually went out into the Sound. And we have some islands that were made by these glaciers. And then as it receded, It melted and receded and melted and receded. It dropped all these giant boulders and rocks all across New England. It's a very rocky place here, yes. All across New England. And, there are a lot of rocky places, but when I say rocky, I mean there's just these giant round boulders sitting everywhere. And when they built this house, they came across a bunch of these giant round rocks, right? And they sunk a couple on the front walk to make the front walk. And they're giant boulders sunk in the ground. And then there's a couple out by the driveway. And, and these are what he's thinking about. These giant boulders that were left here by the glacier, the mighty force of the glacier. I know, it just gets better and better, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Trolls and rocks and glaciers and love it. Love it. Now you can see how the body is made from like shakes. I call them shakes. They're like wooden shingles, and it's just rows and rows of like these wooden shakes. But her face is like carved out of wood, and then her hair is a bamboo. You can't see her hair very well from this picture, but you can see the necklaces really well, and her legs coming down. But I did go around the back of her and take some pictures so I can remember, her hair and the ponytail and all that around the back. Yeah, so I didn't want to leave, but there was another troll to go see. Now the other troll, I'm not going to tell you about that tonight, but that was another amazing adventure. Yes, completely different than this one, but something very special happened at the other troll. Now, if you go on Thomas Dambo's website, you can find the troll maps. And he actually did this little sketch. This is Greta Granite. And I was thinking about doing a map page and putting the two trolls on that, maybe doing a little journaling. But I want to put this picture of Greta Granite on something. And, I'm going to do my journaling on here. I'll do that in a second. I'm going to take my tea break, right? And I think I'm going to put these at the end of the journal. Okay, I have this paper, which is actually a copy of a scrapbook paper page. And I'm thinking about just ripping it down and putting it on this side. Oh, so many ideas. Thank you, everyone, for giving me some ideas with what to do this. I really like the idea of sewing something on. Somebody said splitting it, making a pocket, but I know it's hard to see, but I have already stitching around here, and I don't really feel like taking that apart. I think I'm going to go with my idea of just making two pieces of paper about the same size and, at the same time glue them like this, right? And that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll probably cover these up with something woodsy or nature-ish and troll-like. And then I've got a pocket. I might cover this up. I might cover that up. I want to make this all nature themed, like woods or rocks or trees or something. And this will be the spread. I'm not sure what I'm going to put on the last page, but this area here is going to be about the trolls. Oh, and I had an idea over here to just glue that there like that. See, then that'll cut down. I won't have to put anything there. And I won't have to put anything on this page except maybe decorate over here. And I'm going to use this pocket for something. Yeah, that's my decision for here. And it's not going to do a whole lot, but it's going to at least cut down a tiny, tiny bit of bulk right there. This is already so thick because I've got that foil paper on there. And I decided that I wasn't going to do any journaling on this page. I'm just going to leave it October. And then I'm almost thinking of taking these candy corn bags out or finding something very thin to put in there or maybe gluing it like that so it's a smaller pocket. I can glue it right in there. Glue that down, glue that whole thing down. Or just taking them out. There is plenty in here. And somebody had a suggestion I print out pictures of all the cats in the family and put them in the windows. I love that idea. I have to get to that. And that'll be trolls. And I know what I'm going to put here. I might alter this. I don't really have to put anything here, but I have those slow stitch pumpkins. I'm going to add to that. And then I can do some journaling there. I have one picture I'm going to put there. I might not put anything there, but I do have to put something in this pocket here. And then back here, I have to finish Mystic. I'm not going to put anything there. Again, I might take these out. And then I only have, there's a page back here that I have to put the Highland Games pictures over there. But I'm trying to reduce by not journaling on those 2 October pages and putting this here like that. It's going to cut down just a little teeny bit. Okay. Let's finish one thing up. I'm going to have some tea and do a little bit of journaling. Fred, the apple that didn't get baked into a pie. What's his story? I might come back someday and write his story. I used my Sakura glaze pen. It's gel, but it's very dimensional, so you got to give it a second to dry. I'm going to put it up there for now. I might use this for the back of the map. I'm going to do with the little map, the Thomas Dambo map with the trolls on it. And this is just some old scrapbook paper from the flea market. I thought I had one that was a little bit more like parchment. I might look for that. And I might use this for the back of the last page there. And put this on that side and this on that side. Now I'm going to trim them down so you're going to still see some of the burlap. I want the burlap in the paper bag to show. But like right in the center, I'm going to put something there. And then I'll do that with that side. And Greta Granite. It's going to go right there. Isn't that awesome? I love it. Just like that. And I might take like a white gel pen and do a little bit of journaling. Oh, but I want to write the story of the Thunderstones. But I have this pocket. I can decorate this pocket and put the story in the pocket and do something with the map over here. But for right now, I think that's going to be it. Yeppers, I finished that little pocket. Fred the Apple finally has his own journaling card. And I got started on the ideas for the trolls, and I got to share Granite with you. I hope you enjoyed that story. Well, there's another troll and another story for tomorrow. So y'all better come back now, you hear? Happy junk journaling. Bye-bye. Meditations on the Earth, a celebration of nature in quotations, poems, and essays. All around were fine mountain peaks. No wonder, I thought, that the people of the plains have their gods live here. No wonder, too, that anyone seeking the world of the spirit should travel here to find it amidst the mysteries of snow, mountains, skies, and clouds, and high pastures. Sir Edmund Hillary, born in 1919, New Zealand mountaineer.